Okay, let's just jump right in. The unit circle. I know, it can look like this incredibly intimidating web of numbers and symbols, but what if I told you there's a simple secret, a sort of master key that unlocks the entire thing? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find today.
You know, for so many of us, this is the moment of panic. You look at the full unit circle and your first thought is probably, oh man, I have to memorize every single one of these coordinates, every angle, every fraction. It just feels like an impossible task.
But here's the secret. You don't. You really don't. You only need to truly understand this one single section right here, the first quadrant. If you can master this, I promise you the rest of the circle just clicks into place. It's the foundation for literally everything. So, where do the numbers in this so-called master key quadrant even come from? I mean, they're not just random, right? Nope. They're actually built on something you've probably already learned in geometry, special right triangles. Let's see how that connection works. Remember these two? The 45-45-90 triangle and the 30-60-90 triangles. Well, the specific ratios of their sides are what give us every single important coordinate in that first quadrant. You know those values like 1/2 or the square root of 2/2? They come directly from these triangles.
All right, so let's see how those triangles help us build out the first quadrant. We're going to zero in on just 5 key points. That's it. Forget the rest of the circle for now. Just focus on these 5.
And here they are, the 5 essential angles: 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90 degrees. And you'll see their radian equivalents next to them: 0, pi/6, pi/4, and so on. It's just a different way to measure the same angle. But the important part is the coordinates. The first number is cosine, the second is sine. This table right here, this is our master key.
Okay, I can hear you thinking it. That still looks like a bunch of random fractions and square roots to memorize. But what if I told you there's a brilliant shortcut, a pattern hidden inside those numbers so you don't have to memorize them at all?
Yep, there is a beautiful, simple pattern right there in plain sight. We are not going to use rote memorization. We can use a simple counting trick to generate these coordinates from scratch, anytime, any place.
Let's build the sine values, the y-coordinates. Watch how easy this is. Just count from 0 to 4, but put them inside a square root for the top of our fractions. So we have the square root of 0, square root of 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, and the square root of 4. Now, for step 2, put every single one of those over the number 2. And finally, just clean it up. The square root of 0 is 0, the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2. And just like that, you have your sine values in order: 0, 1/2, root 2/2, root 3/2, and 1.
Now, what about the cosine values? Well, this is the best part. You don't need another trick. The whole secret is that cosine is just that exact same sequence, but backwards. It starts at 1 and counts down to 0. It's that simple. You've just generated all the coordinates you need by counting from 0 to 4. Pretty cool, right?
Great, so we have a trick to remember the coordinates. But so what? Why does this even matter? Well, let's put this knowledge to work and see how we can actually use it to solve problems. Let's go from theory to practice. Let's start with a really basic one. What is the sine of pi/3? This is just a direct lookup from what we just learned.
We just look for our point at pi/3, which is 1/2 root 3/2. And since sine is always the second number, the y-coordinate, the answer is simply the square root of 3/2. Easy as that.
Okay, let's try something that takes one extra little step. How would we find the tangent of pi/6? First, we remember the coordinate for pi/6. That's root 3/2, 1/2. Next, we just have to remember the rule that tangent is always sine divided by cosine. So we take our sine value, 1/2, and we divide it by our cosine value, root 3/2. The 2's cancel each other out, and we're left with 1 over the square root of 3. All right, let's step it up one more level. How would you handle an expression like this? 2 times the sine of pi/6 plus the cosine of 0.
It looks complicated, but we just swap out the trig functions with their actual values from our master key. We know the sine of pi/6 is 1/2, and we know the cosine of 0 is 1. So the expression becomes 2 times 1/2 plus 1. Well, that simplifies down to 1 plus 1, which gives us a final answer of 2. See? It's just plugging in the numbers we know.
Now, let's look beyond just the mechanics for a second. I want to point out a really common mistake people make, and then finish up with a real-world connection that I think is just absolutely fascinating.
Okay, a huge number of students mix up pi/6 and pi/3. They see the 6 and automatically think it's the bigger angle. But here's an easy way to remember it. Think of a pie. If you're dividing a pie by 3, you get a much bigger slice than if you divide it by 6, right? So pi over 3 is the bigger angle.
And now for that surprising connection I mentioned. On one side, you've got our unit circle coordinates, these abstract numbers from math class. On the other, you have something like musical harmony. You'd never expect these two things to be related, but they are, and in a really profound way.
Look at this number again, the square root of 3 over 2. We just used it a minute ago. It's the sine of 60 degrees. It seems like just another number from our chart. Or is it?
Here's where it gets amazing. That number, which is about 0.866, is also the precise frequency ratio for what musicians call a perfect fifth. It's one of the most stable, fundamental, and pleasing sounds in Western music. The sounds we find harmonious are literally governed by the same math we find in the unit circle. It is the mathematics of harmony.
So let's bring this all together. The unit circle is not something you should fear or try to brutally memorize. It's something you unlock. And now, you have the master key. Using simple symmetry, you can reflect these 5 points into every other quadrant to instantly get every other key point on the entire circle. You don't need to learn anything new, just reflect what you already know.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We just saw that the abstract numbers from trigonometry are actually the code behind musical harmony. It kind of makes you wonder, if math can describe something as deep and emotional as music, what other parts of our world is it just waiting to describe?